So now that we've done our report, we want to capture this data in a report form. We do that by highlighting it, and then we're going to print it to a PDF file. And we do that pretty easily in Google Chrome. I'm not sure Internet Explorer allows us to save to a PDF file. And once we've got that, we can save it, and that brings up our Ted Swift folder that we were working from. And the way I save it is I click on the name of the file for the graphic that included the histogram. That gives me all of the file name that I want up through error bars. I get rid of the histogram part of the title, and I include .summary.report. Press enter, and now when I look at the folder, I've got an error bar summary report appended, and it's in a PDF format. It's a nice way to save our results. So now we've got our error bar reports. We're nearly done. We'll go back to locate square wave event by pressing the shortcut button. Now we're back to our square wave page. We want to save this part of the analysis as well for reporting purposes. So we're going to go to Write Reports and press the button that says Write Report and Associated Plot Files. Gives us a nice graphic with the square wave superimposed on the light curve. That file is written in PDF format to the folder. Now we can go back to locate square wave. The next thing we want to do is we want to save all of the parameters that we used in the analysis. That would be on the left side of this panel, and we can do that by doing a Control P, which will do a file save of the screen that we're currently working on. Now this is in portrait mode, and that works fine for saving all of these parameters. So we're going to save that, and the way we name this file is we're going to go to this last file where the square wave graphic was saved, and we're going to just click in here and append to that square wave dot part 1 dot summary dot report. That saves all of that side panel information for us. And then the final thing that we're going to do is we want to save all of this information, which is our analysis results. We highlight it, right click, print. We can save that. But before we do, we notice that our times have been clipped off the edge here. So instead of portrait mode, we're going to use landscape mode. And then we have all of our data is running through here, so that's fine. We have all of our table of candidates that were captured. So we'll save that. And we're going to save that to the same type of file that we did for the side panel, except we're going to rename that Part 2. And that completes our analysis we would then be able to report out our error bars on the form that was provided. Now, let's compare our results, which are these results over here, the time for D and R, to the results that Ted achieved in his very first report using R-OTE. And we go to the data page. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. So we're going to look at the disappearance time and the reappearance time that he reported compared to the times that we have reported up here. So in R-OTE we get a disappearance time of 10 hours, 11 minutes, 12.144520 seconds. And we see that Ted had a disappearance of 10 hours, 11 minutes, 12.03 seconds. Fairly close. R-OTE does things differently than R-OTE. In the event of a discrepancy such as this, I'm thinking that Brad Timerson is going to ask us to actually input the R-OTE values into this report, but we haven't worked that out yet. The reappearance is 10 hours, 11 minutes, 25.5 versus our 10 hours, 11 minutes, 25.57. That's, actually very good agreement. Now if we look at the error bars, we see that R-OTE produced an error bar of 0.02 for disappearance and 0.13 for reappearance. R-OTE uses the same error bars for both disappearance and reappearance, and we see that R-OTE comes up with 0.039 as the maximum error bar. We would input those numbers down here into the appropriate cells for 0.95 confidence interval. So that concludes our analysis. I'll just highlight that on our file now, we have if I go by the date entered, date modified, we started out with 4 files. We now have an additional 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 additional files entered to our folder, including the VTI analysis graphic, the R-OTE version of the CSV file, the block integrated version of that, the normalized to secondary version of that. We have 2 files for noise analysis, one in PNG and the other in PDF format. We have 2 files each for the error bar D histogram distribution, one in PNG and one in PDF, and the same for duration. We have our error bar summary report that we created. We have the square wave graphic that was created by the Write Reports. We have a CSV file that I'll open so you can see it clearer. CSV file that contains all of the numerical results that is produced by R-OTE. I'll the square wave candidates, all of the numbers that we reported out. They're all in a CSV file format. It's a little harder to read, which is why we save all of the results in the PDF files that we do. We have the Part 1 summary, which is the left panel. And then we have the Part 2 summary, which is the data that we want to be able to share with our users. And that is our complete report. So that concludes this demonstration of R-OTE for our second training session.